Hey, what's up y'all? We are back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Ninja Gaiden 2 Ryu Hyabusa. Man, oh man, I'm super excited to finally get this figure in my hands. Ever since the good fellas at DHL dropped them off, I have not been able to put this figure down. What a great time to be alive. Storm Collectibles is coming with their true 112 figures. We got Jada Toy Street Fighter, and Revoltech is coming out with some Ninja Gaiden figures. I'd say it was around 2011 when NECA first introduced their Ryu Hyabusa, and at the time he was good, but he didn't do a lot of ninja things. And with this figure, man, it's almost like sky's the limit. Visually, I dig how he came out from the matte and satin finishes around his body to the different texture and patterns around his legs and his face mask. Lots of detail around his crown armor, and look at those eyes, that green. This figure looks superb. Got some honeycomb patterns around his armor, and I love the silver applications too. I never beat the game of Ninja Gaiden, but I will be getting those 2 games that are coming out this year. I think my reaction motors have evolved a bit, so I'm ready to give it another shot. But man, Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, those games were tough. Yeah, I guess that's no coincidence that this figure in both of those games are coming out around the same time, but works for me. I love the glossier finish for the straps around his armor plate. Makes for a more interesting looking figure, but if there's a couple things I would complain about, I do wish those were of a softer material. I'm a little worried about dropping, and they just used the joint for the deltoid muscle, so that's a little jarring. It gets worse on the inside of his arms, but you can pose most of that away thanks to that Revoltech engineering system. So other than that and a couple funky spots of paint around his fingers and his armor straps, I say this figure's gorgeous. I'm gonna give him a 9 for his look.
Very well, good sir. I challenge you to a duel. Ha! You're
For your accessories, so this bad boy here comes with a pretty good spread of options, so he's going to keep you busy with all this variation. They didn't include the lunar staff, and that would have been really cool if they included that endless fang. Hopefully somebody will 3D print one, or they'll do that for their new release that's coming up. He does come with 2 ninja stars and 2 designated hands to hold them. According to the instructions, I do have these on backwards. 6 pairs of hands. Some pairs aren't identical. The fingers also have a harder plastic to it, so you want to be careful with that. I didn't go with the bonus version, so unfortunately I don't have that sword to show you, and now I'm kind of wishing I did, because the details for this one looks excellent. Even the sheath has some texturing on it, and that red and gold touch makes the sword pop. 360 rotation on the sheath. You can adjust it in and out, and you have an up and down hinge for it. The best thing about the sheath is that it holds the sword really well. There is one thing I did notice, is that it doesn't sit completely flush inside of the sheath. I don't know, maybe that was done on purpose, but I don't mind it too much. And then he comes with what I think is his Kasari Gama. Really fun accessory to have. Lots of detail on the scythe part. I really like the shading, and it's not as sharp as it looks. I want to put a wire through it, but because of the small rings and the weight distribution, it's not going to get too dynamic. But even still, I'm really happy they included it. Be careful when you swap out the hands. Those floating wrist pieces like to fall off, and if your hands are falling off a little too easy, you might want to heat up those pieces and push them further down onto the wrist. He does come with 3 kunai straight out the package. They come attached to his legs. They all are keyed the same way, and they hold really well, but when you start moving them around, they just pop off. You do not want to lose those. Lastly, he does come with a stand and an extra wrist peg, and I'll show you real quick how to swap out his last accessories, which I believe are the talons, and they hold really well too, and that's just lovely. The blades don't really have much of a flex to them. You can snap them, and they appear to be glued in, and you don't lose too much of your articulation. And you know what? I got Hayabusa taking on Wolverine and X-23 at the same time. What's up? Let's talk about it. One of my favorite things about this figure, and you can't tell just by looking at him, is he can move his eyes. Those 2 humps right there around the peg assembly kind of stick out a little bit, and it locks right under the faceplate, keeping it in place. That is genius. So I'm not going to move that around, but I will take another look at his face. Look how gorgeous this guy's face looks, and look how seamless the eyes look. Man, Revoltech is getting so much better. So I do enjoy his accessories very much. I think that bonus sword should have came with them standard, especially for the price, and the bonus sword should have been Endless Fang. I think then I might have been a little more tempted to spend a couple extra dollars for the bonus accessories, but I do like that his eyes can move, and it looks executed so well. So I'll give him a 9.5 for his accessories. Or your articulation. So Hyabusa here moves just as well as you would hope a Revoltech figure to move. Excellent range at that head range. He got that Horatio shit. All of the joints are really stiff, even that toe joint, which I forgot to cover, and it's especially stiff at those shoulders. Okay, the head is a little loose, but he can support his own weight. The face can get a little gappy when you're looking all the way up or down, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. One of the issues I'm running into with this articulation is a scarf. It's of a brittle type of plastic, and it's a little heavy for the head. It's floaty at the back, and it appears to be glued in at the front, but I do love that texture. A pretty tight rotation at the biceps. You might even pop that off if you try to go a 360 with it. I haven't had that issue. It seems to work pretty fine. For the shoulders, you got a peg going into the rib cage, simulating a butterfly joint, so that works pretty well. You also have that Revoltech shift movement at the rib cage. One side seems to go further than the other, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Spotlight for the ab crunch. I freaking love it. This brings me back to my Romanki and Kyle days. This figure's got some really magical things happening at that torso. There's also a floating piece at his lower abdomen as well as his diaper, which does have a slight flex to it, but sometimes it might make the figure look off-center. I was so excited about his ab crunch, I forgot to cover his movement going side to side, but I wouldn't worry about it, just straight. Careful about that joint at his shoulders too. I'm having Gambit flashbacks, but he does have a ball right there too. The only other issue I'm running into with this guy's articulation is his knee joint had popped out on me, just like what had happened with that Black Panther figure they did. I did put it back in, but now it's just a little bit looser, so that's unfortunate. Every time it pops out, I try to put some kikis on it just to give it some more tension, but it's not too bad. It's got a hinge and rotation at his calf, giving you that ultimate knee range, and it's hitting really nice. Look at that arc, that's perfect. His toes could be a little tighter, but it's not awful. I do wish you can get his foot to go up a little bit more, but that hinge at his calves will assist with that a little bit, and he's got some really nice ankles. There is a ball at his thighs. It's tricky to maneuver, and you won't really notice it, and it's kind of tight, and I did notice after moving this guy around a little bit, I have some rub going on his buttocks. It does suck. I'm hoping it's not going to get worse. I'm kind of surprised there's some rub right there. The more I look at him, the more I think his thighs could be a little smaller, and I wish there was a little bit more tension at the toes as well as at the scarf. But overall, he moves like a charm, and nothing is flopping all over the place. So I'm going to have to give his quality an 8.9, and I'm going to give his articulation a 10. For some quick size comparisons, here we have him next to your NECA Ninja Gaiden figure. As you can see, your NECA version is huge. We have your Revoltech Joker and your Berserker Beretta from Bro Toys. Next, here we have him next to your very cool female assassin with the custom head on your Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero. And your SH Figuarts Gabby Morrow. Next, here we have him next to your Figma Dead or Alive Kasumi. Man, I can't wait for Revoltech to do her. That's gonna be sweet. We have him next to your Mayfax Gambit and your Coaster Toys Abyss Knight. And lastly, here we have him next to your NECA Ninja Turtle and your Kotobukiya Zero Model Kit. So final thoughts on the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Ninja Gaiden figure. What can I say that I haven't already said? This figure sells himself. He actually sold out in many places. At the time of this recording, he was still available at Army, so I'm hoping they re-release this figure because I think I need about 4 more. Most of my gripes I have, I could work around. This is definitely a piece of candy right here. Top figure coffin shit for sure. I can find nothing with this figure that's worth repeating. Final score, I'm gonna give this guy a 9.5. Get you one. All right, y'all, that's the video. I'd love a like. If not, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
On the track. Many fantasies are being transformed into reality by modern science.